Okay guys, quick update with Bitcoin. Well, maybe not so quick. I have quite a few charts to go through. We're going to cover some altcoin charts. We're going to cover gold, the dollar, and the Dow, and I'm going to give you key levels. Now, in the last video, I talked about this level we're at right now. That was this video here. It was 11 days ago. I said above a certain point, we're bullish up to 93.5K. We hit that target. Now we need to find out if we're going to get above that or get rejected. We do have a gap below. We're going to discuss that as well. So as you can see, we are at this point right now. Let me zoom in here, and you can see that price label. And I told you this was kind of a horizontal, if you did watch the last video. So right now we are teetering it at 93,578. So now I did open a short here, and I posted this in Discord. But if we get above this, we can go much higher. So I'm going to give you your upside targets, your most important targets. And obviously if we drop, we have a lot of support below. It is very possible we come down, we fill that gap. We could drop a little bit more, hit support, push back up. But again, you can use this to scout, but I want to give you your upside targets and show you how this could play out. In Discord, this was actually pretty awesome. You can see this post here. So wow, that was to the tick for resistance to support for gold. So if you watch previous videos I put out, I was talking about gold. Now I did say this could be a possible point to short. I said if I'm wrong and we push above it, your next point to short was right here around 3,500. And then obviously this resistance, you can see it hit support. I mean, this was to the tick for gold as resistance and support. And I mentioned, see this previous post, and you can see this post right here. So 3,497, roughly 3,500. And this was the level we were above. And you can see that played out perfectly. I mean, that's how accurate these charts are, guys. I mean, this line's been here way before price got to it. Gold hit this point, got rejected. Perfect support. So your support for gold right now is 3,262. If that breaks, well, your support for gold is 3,088. And you can see that that's how this played out. Now, if we get above, now just like you can see we hit this line. Now, a line can be resistance, it could be support. But we know our next level above would be 3,851. But do take note, you know, we're a little overextended on the MACD and the RSI, so we could see some downsides. So if you see 3,262 break for gold, then more than likely we're coming down to test around 3,085. So just keep that in mind for gold. Let's move on. So I want to cover a few levels. Now I did talk about in let's see, there's this video here. We're going to come back to these charts. I'm going to give you these levels. We did talk about, this was the last video I put up. It was 9 days ago. I said, don't get bullish on Bitcoin until these four altcoins break to the upside. So I'm going to give you those levels. It was Sol, Ethereum, Litecoin, and ADA. Those did break above, so I'm going to give you those key levels too. Guys, when you're leverage trading, CoinCatch is a great option. It's no KYC, no VPN. This is the events page. I'll put a link up to it now. If you deposit $1,000, you can get $3,000 bonus to trade with. It's 30 slots every 7 days. You need to have your funds in your futures account. It's not 7 days from when you deposit. It's just the event is every 7 days, so it could be 2 days or 3 days after. If you have any questions, you can email me at the contact page on my website. That's 30 slots every 7 days. If you deposit $500, you get $750 back. That's $300. That's 300 slots every 7 days. This is my affiliate link. If you want to sign up, I'll put a link up to it now. Again, all these links will be pinned in the first comment description. If you want to learn how to trade on CoinCatch, this tutorial video I put up, it's got timestamps below. It shows you all the tools, how to use them, and how to protect yourself. I'll link this video now if you want to learn how to trade on CoinCatch. Also, if you want to check out Blowfin, just like CoinCatch, just no KYC, no VPN. Blowfin is also no KYC, no VPN. So if you want to sign up to either of those two, the links are pinned in the first comment and description. Okay, guys, so let's go through this. Now, I'm going to come back to this chart. Before we do, let me just give you that next level above. Get rid of this big arrow. And you can see I have, if I zoom out, you'll notice I have this, how much we dropped. We dropped, let me give you an arrow so you see what I'm talking about. And you know, this video might run kind of long, guys, but I do have a lot to cover, so I hope you do pay attention. So notice back here, you see this red arrow? When we broke this orange ring, we dropped a total of 12.64%. And if you'll take note, when we broke this orange ring here, we dropped almost the same amount, a little over 12%. And then we pushed up, and we're testing a critical resistance level now. So if we get above a key level, you can see what happened here. Once we broke this point, we found support, we pushed up until we made contact with that ring, and then we started consolidating. So before that could happen, we have some very, very key levels. But if we get above that level, then what happened here could play out at this ring, and that is a very, very high number, and we're going to cover that as well. So before we get to that, let's go through a few things. All right. So again, in that video I had mentioned, watch and see if these 4 altcoins break to the upside. So Solana, and go back and watch the video. I said, look, if we get above with these 4 altcoins, and this was right here. Let me find this chart. This is a Bitcoin chart. So again, I said, look, we broke above this line. We had a lot of resistance that flipped out support. You can see this line right here was support. This we should have longed 84,400. I said, if we get a daily open above 85,921, we've already broken above our key resistance from 109,000. And then once we break above this channel, we'd be breaking up from another structure, which was bullish, and you can see we shot straight up from that point. So your most critical support level now is around 85,350, but we do have that line above, as I mentioned. And before we get into the altcoins, let me just give you that target. So even if we get above, you can see we wicked above 93,578. Your next resistance level to pay attention to on the daily is around 95,615. Now, if we get above 93,600 and hold its support, I think that is going to be very bullish. I'm going to come back and explain why that's the case, but we still could get rejected around 95,600. But again, I think that would be bullish, and I'll show you the upside targets. Now, keep in mind, we still have this pause on the tariffs. I think Trump's getting a lot of, well, I think a lot of big money are upset about these tariffs, and I think the tariffs are probably going to be removed. And I think because the bond market's crashing, it's very possible the Fed might step in. I don't expect any rate cuts, but I think they might do quantitative easing, and that would be bullish for the stock market. Again, there's a lot of things going on, but if I'm just giving you the levels so you know what to pay attention to if we push up or if we drop. But I did mention in that video about altcoins. So Solana, I said if you see Solana break above, all right, this was a key support and resistance level. So if you see Solana break above 136.71, which we did, that would be bullish not only for Solana, but bullish for Bitcoin. So pay attention to Ethereum. If we break above this key level at 1,600, that would be bullish for Bitcoin. We did. That is also now your support. So if we come back down, your support is 1,600. That's right near the central Bollinger Band on the daily. And this key fib line right here, notice we already hit the top Bollinger Band for Ethereum. Litecoin, same deal. So if we got above this key level, that would be bullish for Bitcoin. And Litecoin, we pushed above it, so now your key support for Litecoin is 75.74. Take note, we got rejected to the top Bollinger Band on the daily. ADA, same deal. So if we got above this point at 0.67, that would be bullish. All 4 of these broke these key resistance levels, and Bitcoin shot up. Now, I will give you your key support and resistance levels if you're playing. Well, I'll come back and give you these key levels for these altcoins. The DXY, now this is something I want to point out. Now, it looks like the DXY found some very, very key support. As I just showed you, gold got rejected, all right? So you can see these fib lines right here. Now, the fib line below is 97.62, but take note this trend line right here. Now, it's not always, I know a lot of people always draw trend lines like at the bottom of all of the, the bottom of the wicks or the candles, but sometimes if you can see structure where a line can be support and resistance. So notice right here, it was resistance, a lot of support and resistance, resistance. You had support and resistance. Right here, it was a lot of support, a lot of support. So we're at a very key support level. So it's very possible the dollar found support and could push up. If that happens, that's going to be bearish for markets and bearish for gold and bearish for Bitcoin. We'll have to see what happens. On the flip side, if we break below 97.89, and the dollar continues dropping, that's going to be very bearish. I mean, bullish for Bitcoin, bullish for the markets. But pay attention, this is a very key support level, and I have that on multiple charts. You can see this is DXY, guys. Resistance, resistance. You see it was support and resistance, a lot of support through here, a lot of support through here. So again, that's two different charts charted different ways, showing that we just hit a very key support level. Your current resistance we're testing right now is right around close to 100 for the DXY. So see if we can get above that point or if we get rejected. But again, if we break 98.3, roughly 98, that means the dollar has a lot more downside, and that's bullish for Bitcoin, bullish for the markets. But just letting you know what those key levels are. So the first support level below the DXY is around 95.97. Again, that would be bearish, but again, I think the dollar has held support and we could see some upside. And again, if these tariffs are off and the Fed steps in and starts QE, that could be bullish markets. We could see some upside. All right, let's go on, guys. Now, before I cover some of these key targets, I did want to mention we do have a gap below. Remember I said that key resistance was around 93,500. Now, we did drop a bit, but that gap has not been filled. As you will notice, we have a gap. We would have to drop down to around 91,730 to fill that gap. It only makes sense that we would come down and fill that gap. We could push up from there. And the top of that gap, we did get a wick down below, but the top of that gap, when it started from that last candle, was 93,940. So it is possible we come down and fill that gap, then we could push higher, but I would pay attention to that target. That is a support level on other charts as well. So your hourly, so I'm going to go ahead and cover this. I'm going to get this video up pretty quick. So we are riding up this trend line. You can see right here, support, support, support. It looks like we're about to break that support level. And I made a post in Discord about this. This was a point we shorted. Right here, you can see this red fib line right here. Price got rejected, just like the gold chart, guys. I set up these charts a certain way so we know our resistance and support levels are. If we push up, if we continue riding up this line, your key resistance right now on the hourly is around 94,700. If we break, all right, this is a support level. If we break this, well, obviously we're going to get a drop. Looks like we're teetering on it now. At the time recording this video, we're at 93K. So if we break the support level on the hourly, your next support level to pay attention to is around 91,469. That kind of coincides just barely with the filling that gap below. So it looks like we could have some downside in the short term. Your next major key support level below is around 88,900. And if we do get above 94,700, your next resistance level to pay attention to is around 96,440. And we're going to go back to the D1 chart. I'm going to break that down. I just want to make sure you have your key levels on the hourly to pay attention to. If you did break 88,000, and again, I'm going to make these green, guys. Green means that's point you long. I'm a stickler about this. And your next support level below that would be around 86,438. And guys, if you have access to the charts, all you got to do is just look left, and you can see how price has been respecting these lines. You can clearly see that. Perfect resistance, resistance. A lot of support through here, a lot of resistance. Once we broke above it, we pushed up. So again, always look left, and you can see why those lines are important. But right now, your most critical level to pay attention to on the hourly is 94,700. And pay attention to see if we break, I don't know, within the next hour or so, if we break 93K. Now, we could come back up and test. Now, this is typically what happens. We could drop, come down to 91,000, push back up, even hit 94,700, but we're hitting a resistance level that previously was support, which means we could see some downside. That's typically how it works. But if we break a support, we break a support trend line, we'll come down to support. Your fib line is 91,366. Now, I have a lot of charts here. I'm going to come back to this chart in a minute. Now, this is critical. I'm going to zoom out of this chart, but first I'm going to go back to this chart right here. So the reason why I said that if we push up 93,578 was a point to open a short. I'm not saying we have to drop from here, but if you were going to open a short, this would be an ideal point to do it. And I covered this in the last video. I'm going to zoom out and show you why. This is log scale. You can see that this was previously. Let's see here. Get a price label. if I can find it. Price label right here. So you can see right here, it was resistance at 65,000. All right, this is back in April 2021. It was resistance again, and this was November 2021, 68,425. And then you can see it ended up being support all through here. Let me get an arrow tool. So you can see it was a lot of support all through here. So we got some wicks below, perfect support, and then we came up, tested it as resistance, right? Pushed above it briefly, hit it as resistance. So that's why I said if we push up, that's your next level to watch, and we're at that level now. So if we hold above that, guys, I would start getting bullish. From here, I would be bearish, at least come down and test some support levels. This is an ideal point to open a short, in my opinion. If we hold above, do expect to get a rejection around 95,757. If we're above 95,800, let's say around the area holding support on the daily, then I think it's very likely we're headed up to hit some much higher targets. And that is where that other chart comes into play, which would be this one right here. So again, if you go back, and I discussed this in the video a while back, I'm going to get rid of the MACD. The MACD below, but this is linear scale, and I just want you to pay attention. Now I did discuss this, and going by the MACD, it looks like we could range, but just want to show you going back since. All right, this goes all the way back to 2017. It was resistance at 19,296, and this is just a straight line, guys. It was resistance right here. This was 2021 around 61,819. It was resistance again. This was in 2021 also, 68,188. And then you can see we hit this again twice. We topped out at 108. And I made a video about that, said that'd be a great point to short 108,000. We dropped down, we pushed back up, hit that line again, right at 109,000. Made a video about that as well. So here's what I'm saying. If we push up, let's say that the markets are looking bullish, or they're pushing up. Let's say they do away with these tariffs, markets get excited, the Fed steps in, does QE. If we push up, I would still short the hell out of this line. If we pushed up today, unlikely, that's 113,000. If it's further out, that could be 115,500. But if we did break above that, all right, that is a key resistance level going all the way back to 2017. If we broke above this line, this macro trend line going back for years and years and years, that would be very, very bullish. We'd be breaking above a trend line going back to 2017. If that happens, I'm not saying it has to happen, I just want you to have that target. If that did happen, that is where this could come into play. And the crazy thing about this, if this did play out, if you'll notice, when we crossed this ring right here, when we crossed this ring, and this is what's crazy, is it matches perfectly. When we crossed this orange ring, we dropped 12.64%. When we crossed this orange ring over here, we dropped a little over 12%. Well, when we started pushing up, we pushed up 65, almost 66%. That was a hell of a pump. But the thing is, the further out we go, and you can see this ring, if I kind of do like this, you can see what I'm talking about. So the further out we go, the higher we could go. So if we got above, and these targets are way the hell up here. So listen to what I'm saying. If we got above, this is going to be a lot of resistance. So even if we range and then we break to the upside, we're still going to have a lot of resistance. But if we break above, 114 or wherever we hit that point, and we get above that and hold as support, then I think that's where this ring will come into play. And as I said, if we held support when we cross this ring and push up, and if we get above 93,578, especially above 95,800, that holds as support, then when we hit that ring, just like back here, again, this was your point to short. Let me grab another arrow tool here. Like I said, when we hit this ring, that was your point. Now, we did hit it twice. We got a rejection. We hit it again. So you'd want to be at a resistance level when you make contact with the ring. But all I'm saying is we could push up just like previously, right up that ring. So let's say we get above our resistance around 112,000. Take note, this is just a trend line going back that price matches. So let's say we get above, that the area I talked about, 115,000, 117,000, and we push up, guys. We could be looking at a target, when we make contact with this ring. If we shot up today, we would make contact with that ring that would be right at 137,000. Now, I find that very, very unlikely, almost impossible. But if we continue sideways and up, again, when we make contact with that ring, that would be the point to go. You would go short. Let me just kind of zoom in and give you an idea here. So let's say we started moving up, pushing up over the next 11, 12 days. Again, I'm just saying, when we hit this ring, that is the point that you'd potentially want to go short. I'm not saying we have to push that high. I'm just saying that is a target to watch. We could get rejected from this point. I've been talking about this point for a while. We came up and tested a very key resistance. Again, it was resistance back here. It was resistance here. We briefly got above it, right? It held a support, this green line. And now we're getting rejected. So either we drop from this point, we come back down and test some key support levels, which I will cover on that the other chart, D1 Fib retracement. If we get above 93,578, guys, that is going to be very bullish. If we get above 95,800, then we're probably coming up to test our previous high. As I said, I don't repeat myself, just want to make sure you understand. If we get above 114,800 and markets are bullish, then yeah, when we make contact with this ring, wherever it's at, I know that's a high-ass number, but I'm just saying, if we pushed up and market just started pushing up like crazy, Bitcoin just started just mooning, when you hit this ring, that would be the point we would probably start consolidating, or at least to go short. I have no idea when we hit this ring. I have no idea that we will push up and hit that ring. I just know that that is a target because it played out exactly like that here. So that could be a possibility here. But for now, I would remain short from this point, 93,578. You start seeing daily opens holding above 93,578. Then again, 95,800 is a point to watch. And this yellow line goes back since the beginning of Bitcoin. I probably have stuff all over this chart. But I just want to show you the significance of these lines. You can see I've mentioned this in previous videos. Forgot to delete everything. But you can see right here, you see how much support it was all through here. This is support, it was resistance. You can see it was support back here. And that's how you see how, go back and just look left. You can see this is a lot of support right here. And you can see back in, this is back in 2013, 2014. Look at all that support all through here. And actually, if you pull that line back, right, that goes right back to where we had resistance back in 2013. So that is a very, very key macro resistance level. So even if we do get above 93,578, your next point to watch is around 95,800. If we get above that, we're more than likely, if we hold support, markets are pushing up, we're probably headed to at least 115,000, 117,000. But if we do break above 114,000, I will short that. But if we get above that, that is where this ring will come into play. And again, that depends on when we hit it, depends on when we get rejected. Now, I'm not saying we're going that high. I just like to have those targets just in case. But let me go back to this other chart so I can give you support levels on, and then we'll cover the altcoins as well. So look, we're already breaking the support level. So remember, 91,200, we have that gap below. I have so many charts on here. Where is this Bitcoin chart that I want to show you here? All right, so right here. So currently, you can see your support. Made a post about this in Discord. And if you do want to join our Discord, guys, and you want to get access to these live charts, if you want to sign up to the website, for $49 a month, you get access to all the altcoin charts, Bitcoin charts, precious metals, and our Discord. If you do sign up, make sure you contact me through the contact page. Verify you have an account, and then I'll send you a Discord invite link. You can't pay with USDT, but you need to email me through the contact page. So let's cover this really quick, and I'll give you those altcoin levels. So let's go through this. And remember, 91,700, that's where that gap is below that we could still fill. Let me find this chart. There we go. Okay, so your current support, all right, so 92,000, today's candle is 92,258. As long as we hold above that, Again, we still have our resistance on, let me just get rid of this right here. Our resistance is 93,578. We start holding above that, get bullish. Otherwise, if we start dropping, where's this chart at right here? Okay, so again, if we start getting daily opens below today, so 92,238, next daily candle. If we get a daily open below 92,432, your next key support level, take note, again, all you have to do is look left. You can see how important this line is. Notice we got our rejection at 88,091. We came back down and pushed back up. So your next key support level is going to be 88,891. And we know for a fact that this channel that I've been talking about for a while, once we broke above it, so we know 85,295 is going to be a lot of support. And we know that we have a lot of support below that. The line that we broke above that was goes all the way back to 109,000. We could come back down and test that line at any point. Hell, we could drop down to 76,500. We're still above that line. That could be bullish. But I would pay attention to this orange macro trend line and this fib line. So let's say we had one hell of a drop. We could still drop down to 81,841 and still be bullish. But I want to make sure you have those key levels, and that is this right here, this yellow line. Again, that is going to be extremely bullish. If we're above 95,600 around that area, then I think it's more than likely that we're headed up to at least test 114,000. And if we get above that, then like I said, that's where this orange ring will come into play. But we'll have to see what happens just when we have those key levels. So let's go through a saw, guys. So you can see that your current support right now, take note, we hit that literally to the dollar and got a bounce. So your current support right now is 145.55. Your next support level below, and this is a very key support level, as long as we're above 137.22, stay bullish on Solana. If that breaks, your next support level is going to be around 123. If we continue up, your next resistance level is going to be up around 175. So again, as long as these support levels hold, we can look at a lot of upside. Ethereum, I'm going to update this chart. I need to add some more support and resistance levels, but most importantly, pay attention to, as long as we stay above 1600 around that area, that is bullish. If that breaks, your next support level is going to be around, depending on when you make contact, 1,260. Now, the next resistance level I have above, I need to add another fib channel. I need to update this chart and add more fib channels to give you upside targets. All I have is your major support level, but we are getting rejected from the top Bollinger Band. Litecoin, same deal. You know, I have a target all the way up here around, what, 118, but I need to add some more fib channels to give you some targets in a smaller time frame, but same deal, guys. Your major key support level is around 75.29. That's where the central Bollinger Band on the daily is. If we break 75.29, then we're bearish to some lower targets. ADA, I do have some targets on this chart, so I'm going to update these other charts to show you, like I have these lines above. So your current support on ADA, as long as you're above 0.67, stay bullish. If that breaks, well, your next major support level is going to be, you got this support level in this direction, and you have the support level in this direction. So you're talking about 0.40, but your resistance level just above is right here at 0.77. The next resistance level above that is up around, depending on when you make contact, 0.92. Next resistance level above that is around $1.19 or 1.19. So those are your key levels, but basically all I was saying was, since in that last video or the video before, since we were at a critical resistance level with four altcoin charts, four major altcoins, if we got to break above, that would be bullish, and that's how it played out, and Bitcoin pushed up. So again, you can look at all kinds. You can look at different altcoin charts. You compare with Bitcoin charts, and the Dow. If you've been following me, I talked about this blue ring. I said this blue ring would be support. We came down. We got a huge bounce right from 36,945, and we pushed up and we got rejected. I told you to pay attention to this red line. See how it's been a lot of support. I take the time to map out the direction of price at these fib channels. We got a perfect rejection right here at 40,800. All right, so that is going to be your next key resistance for the Dow. If we get above 40,929, that holds as support. Then your next resistance level above is going to be 41,000, 600 up to 42,327. So we could see some upside. Now, if we do get above that, your next resistance is going to be a lot of resistance, guys. This is the top of where I set this channel up. That's around 42,800. But I'm just saying, if we know that this possibly has some upside, there's a lot of uncertainty in the markets. We don't know what's going to happen with the Fed. I do know there's going to be no rate cuts. Now, quantitative easing, maybe. But if the markets continue to push up, all right, and I do know that the dollar looks like it's already found support. So, you know, if the dollar pushes up, again, we'll have to see. If we see the dollar break 97.89, according to both of these DXY charts, that's a key support level. If that breaks, then I imagine, you know, gold and Bitcoin will probably push up. With the markets, we'll have to see. But we do know that we're at a key support level. So do pay attention to around 97.83 for the DXY. I want to make sure I didn't forget anything here, guys. But again, at least the markets look like they could have some upside, and Bitcoin does follow the markets. We'll just have to pay attention. It's just crazy that the dollar was dropping, and the markets were dropping, and you know Bitcoin's been kind of going sideways. But I just want to make sure you have those key levels. Again, I would be short from 93,578 just because that was previously resistance. It was a lot of support, and we're testing it now. But again, above 93,600, especially if we get above 95,000, then I do think we're coming up to test again that resistance level. And if we break above that, I will keep you guys updated. But I do think this ring would be the top. You know, if we get some crazy bull run, some crazy ass pump, when we make contact with this ring, that would be an ideal point to short. I did want to cover all of that, and if we do start dropping and we break below those key levels I just showed you, I will make some more videos to give you those major support levels. But we have a lot of support below. If you've been following me before, I talked about this channel. Actually, this is a pattern we broke out of: resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. Broke out of it, so we have so much support below. And take note. What was resistance back here in this channel, actually what was support, this line right here, this was support right here. So that will be support again, and that's close to where we're at now. So a very, very key support level. Again, we have so much support below us. You know, that's down here around 72,000. I'm not saying we have to drop down to that point, but you can see that's this line right here. We topped out at 109. We broke above that. Now we're testing a key resistance. So we have this that would hold as support. We have this previous resistance level that becomes support. A lot of support around 71,859. Plus that is our previous high. But just be careful. Market makers want to trap you. They want to trick you. So just pay attention, guys. If you want a chance to short from this point, that's what I'm doing. But if we do hold above this, you know, we're bullish to some much higher targets. I'm sorry this ran so long. I wanted to cover it, and it was all out of order, guys. But again, if you get into leverage trading coin catch, it's a great option. It's no KYC, no VPN. They have they have the best specials I've ever seen. Again, all these links are pinned in the first comment description. Do check out that tutorial video. That's also pinned in the first comment description. And if you want to sign up for Bluefin, that link is there as well. Remember, all of these are no KYC, no VPN. Guys, I will keep you updated, but just remember 93,700, that's the point to watch. Above that holds the support. I get very bullish. Otherwise, we could see some downside. That's it, guys. Trade safe, trade smart. I'm out.